जय जी समय।
Namaste, Sat Shri Akal, Jai Shri Ram. A warm welcome to everyone for being part of this webinar series. Let me just take a minute to take care of some housekeeping items, and then we'll talk about this webinar and introduce our eminent guest speaker today. Firstly, please use the QA box for any questions you might have. We will not be taking questions from the chat room. Secondly, the video recording of this webinar will be posted on our website in a day or so. So please be patient. Everyone will get a copy of the or linked to the video recording as soon as it's posted. Dhanyawad. So now to the background of this webinar series. As you know, the Sri Ramlala Mandir in Ayodhya is scheduled to be inaugurated on January 22nd, 2024. This is a momentous occasion that marks the culmination of 500 years of struggle for the construction of a temple dedicated to Sri Ram at his birthplace. The historic and cultural importance of this event extends far beyond the architectural achievements, symbolizing a spiritual and emotional connection for millions of Hindus around the world. Now, obviously, this is a great moment for all people of Dharma to rejoice. However, there is another aspect to it, and that is that it has taken 497 years after the destruction of the original Mandir to get to this point. 497 years, 70 of which were during the period when we were our own masters, the post-independent era. And imagine a population that represents 80% of the total population of the country had to be dragged through a long legal battle where every aspect of our dharma system, our belief system, was questioned. That in no other country is that sort of thing possible. So it is the purpose of this webinar to reprise this painful 500-year history with special emphasis on the last 70 years or so. And who is better placed to do that than our eminent guest, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi ji. Now, he does not really need a lot of introduction, but let me just give a very brief, just speak a few words about, his background. So Dr. Trivedi, in addition to being a member of the Bharatiya Parliament, is an academician and a media personality. As a frequent speaker on India's news channels and panel discussions, he articulates India's civilizational history with clarity and conviction. That has garnered him recognition in both political as well as intellectual circles. His keen interest in national and international affairs and in-depth knowledge of historical and political issues make him a very sought-after speaker. Dr. Trivedi holds a PhD degree in mechanical engineering and has held many faculty positions at a number of universities. He was elected unopposed to Rajya Sabha in 2019 and is currently serving as the national spokesperson for the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP. His academic background enriches his political perspective, providing his holistic approach to addressing contemporary issues. As a multifaceted individual, Dr. Trivedi plays a pivotal role in shaping the political narratives, contributing to public discourse, and bridging the realm of academic and political issues in the Indian landscape. With that, Dr. Trivedi, please join me in giving him a warm welcome, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi ji. बहुत धन्यवाद आपका for joining. Let me just take a moment also to introduce some of the other team members who are on the screen here, helping in conducting this webinar. Shri Amitabh Mittal ji is the General Secretary of Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America. Shri Neerav Patelji, he is the director of Hindu Business Network, which is an initiative of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America. And Shri Chandrabhushanji is in Delhi. He is the technical and media support for this program. So with that, Dr. Trivedi, Sudhanshuji, the floor is yours.
Namaskar. The voice is clear?
It is very clear, sir.
Jai Bansal ji, Amitabh ji, Neerav Patel ji, and you have told that Chandrabhushan ji is here from New Delhi, and all the distinguished, eminent persons who have joining this webinar. And the topic is about Sri Ram Janmabhoomi, and we are talking about the historical prospects. First, I would like to make it very clear that what is history, where does Sri Ram Janmabhoomi stands, and how it is being dealt with in the modern times, and what is going to be its impact in future. One thing we must keep in mind, that there is a fundamental difference between our perception of history, means the Indian perception of history, Bharatiya perception of history, and the Western perception of history. In West, history is that branch of knowledge which can tell you about any event of past with exact details and exact timing. That's what we understand about the history. But if I ask you, where does it matter today? If Julius Caesar invaded England in 40 BC or 60 BC, how does it matter today? How does it affect our life today? So that's why history is considered to be a comparatively less relevant topic or a redundant topic. But in Indian context, history is not that branch of knowledge. History is that branch of knowledge which can tell you the events of past so that it should be helpful in enhancing, establishing the moral values in the society today. That's why we are not saying that we are de-recognizing or we are ignoring the actual and the fundamental database part of the history. But in our concept, that is less important. That's why when Bhagwan Ram was born is less important for us. Ram Leela is more important for us, because that provides the values that how it should be established in the society. So there is a fundamental difference. And when we talk about the hardcore truth, then the truth of the historical fact comes from 2-3 sources. Number one is documentary evidence. Another is the archaeological evidence. Another is some literary evidences. If you go by the documentary and literary evidences, I think one more thing before that I would like to say. I think Bhagwan Sri Ram Lala Virajman is the only God in the entire world whose existence and place of birth was questioned in the court of law. Nowhere in the world you can find any example. So it was, you can say, an test of the limit of endurance of Hindu society that you are ready to accept. And with full dignity, I would like to say that Bhagwan Ram, as by its name, Maryada Purushottam, he has passed all the tests of Maryada and duly established after the judgment of the court. Some of you people must be knowing, or some of you must not be knowing, that in the court case, one of the respondent was Sri Ram Lala Virajman himself. वो मुद्दई बने हुए थे साहब. दुनिया में कोई दूसरा एग्जाम्पल नहीं है जिसमें भगवान जो है वो खुद अदालत पे अपने केस के लिए खड़े हुए. Second thing, if anybody asks about Bhagwan Ram being just a symbol of Hindus, I would like to remind him, if there is any one country in the world on whose national broadcaster every day Ramayana comes, it is not India, it is Indonesia, the biggest Muslim country of the world. If I ask you, there is only, name any country in the world whose head of the state still holds the title King Rama, it is Thailand, not India. If I ask you, name a country whose first lady believes that their descendancy is from Bhagwan Ram's lineage, it is South Korea. If I ask you, that do you know that in between the Iraq and Syria, there is a Sumoi province in which, in the caves, a picture has been found in which an Indian king with dhoti and dhanush and mukut is standing, and in front of him, on its toes, a monkey is standing with the folded hands. I don't think that there is any doubt about it that it represents Bhagwan Ram and Bhagwan Hanuman. And in the Pharaoh's dynasty, if you go and check whom they considered as their first king, the first king of their dynasty is Ramses, Ramses. The Ram is again there. On the west bank of Jordan River, there is a very famous port called Ramallah. You can understand that the Allah word has come from where the Ram has come. In Honduras, you can go and check, even search on internet, that there is a monkey god which has been worshipped as a source of all the virtues. So from Honduras to the west, to Indonesia in the east, there is a huge impact of Bhagwan Ram all over the world, cutting across the boundaries of religion, civilization, and culture. Now come to history. Before Bhagwan Ram, 39 his predecessors are available in the documentary evidence. 39 राजा मनु वैवस्वत से लेके भगवान राम तक 39 किंग्स का बाकायदा लिखित डिस्क्रिप्शन है. 73 onwards, 39 before and 73 onwards, but still the question is being asked on the historicity and the existence of Bhagwan Ram. And particularly, with due respect to anybody else, in most of the religions of the world, some are not having the previous descendancy, and some are not having the further legacy, and some are having neither the previous nor the next. Still, no question is asked. Only the question is asked from here. Now comes, how do you determine that the person was born or not? Bhagwan Ram एकमात्र देवता है whose exact time is mentioned, not the date. Exact time is mentioned. His horoscope is there available. Clearly that on that particular day at 12 noon he was born, and when NASA has put the entire planetary configuration at the time of the birth of Bhagwan Ram, it was mentioned in Valmiki Ramayana, in their planetarium software, it has given a date of some January 5114 BC. Means 7,100 something years before, which I don't think that it is correct, but this is showing that the actual place, and it is very well known. Mangal Makar Rashi mein tha, Surya Mesh Rashi mein tha, Brahaspat Kark Rashi mein tha, Shani Tula Rashi mein tha. Exact details are available on every planet was in which position. And in my opinion, if somebody wants to have a pure scientific parameter of historically determining any event, it cannot be in the terms of AD or BC or Hijri or Vikram Samvat or any other parameter. The most absolute accurate measuring parameter of time can be the planetary positions, because that can be calculated even after thousands of years, when your present calendar would have vanished, even lakhs of years, then there would have been no existence of a present calendar. So in Bhagwan Ram's birth, it is mentioned, but still it is denied. And moreover, the more painful was when this movement is started 30 years back or some 40 years back. It was not the question that you have to prove that this place belongs to Bhagwan Ram. The question was asked, Bhagwan Ram हुए भी थे कि नहीं, पहले तो ये साबित करो. Then वो ये अयोध्या थी कि नहीं, ये साबित करिए. First you prove whether Bhagwan Ram was actually existed or not, whether this Ayodhya was not, and then everything started. And subsequently, when you come after the history, from the time of Bhagwan Ram and subsequently later on, from where the West considered the so-called documented history. From the time of Samrat Vikramaditya, there is a clear-cut literary evidences of existing temple there. Then it was renovated by Prabhavati Gupta in 4th century. She was from the Gupta dynasty. And I think she was one of the earliest example of a lady ruling a kingdom. And that too a massive kingdom which was at the time encompassing all today's North India, all today's Pakistan, all today's Central India, except the South India, and all today's Eastern India, most of the part of Eastern India from Bihar to Bengal. And after that, till 11th century, there is a clear-cut evidences of temple there. Number of documentary evidences. One thing I would like to clear, that some of the people will say that the court in its judgment has said that they couldn't find any archaeological evidence that the temple was existing or demolished 12th or 13th century. This is, court has said. But those who are trying to take an alibi of this statement, they are trying to befool themselves. Yes, of course. Archaeological evidence cannot be found once the structure is destroyed. I have asked several times in the debate to them that if you hell-bent upon denying the documentary evidence, there is no archaeological evidence which can say that any structure existed there before 6th of December 1992. There is no archaeological evidence left. Only documentary evidences are left. Only the picture and literary evidences are left. So it's obvious that anybody can say that the physical structures remains are not there. Then you have to rely upon the documentary evidences. Now, when they talk about that there was a so-called masjid standing there since 500 years, though the fact of the matter is that court never said it as mosque. Court has always said that it was a disputed structure. Court has always used the terminology disputed structure. But they tried to portray it as a mosque. Agar ye mosque thi, so Babur has written an elaborate description during the time of Babur Nama or Tazuke Babari. Is there any reference of mosque? No. It means it was built and immediately it was regained by the Hindu society. They have recaptured. Then comes Humayun's time. Humayun Nama. Is there any reference? No. Then comes Akbar. Akbar's Aine Akbari. No reference. Jahangir Nama. No reference. Shah Jahan Nama. No reference. It means that, as it is said, that there is a 500 years old struggle. Every time, whenever some foreign ruler or tyrant tried to capture that, in a very short span of time, the Hindu society fought back and regained the control of that thing. Even if you come to the reference of the foreign travelers, there is a famous foreign traveler, William Finch, who visited India somewhere around 1580 or something, so 50, 60, 70 years after Babur. He gives an elaborate reference of Ram temple there, means Ram reference. He says Ram fort. He uses the word Sita Rasoi. He uses the word Tretaka Thakur. But he is not giving any reference of any mosque there. It means by 1580, the particular place was in total control of the Hindu society and they were not having any control over it. Then for the first time a foreign traveler is giving any reference was a French traveler. He came around 1740-50, means some 30, 40 years after Aurangzeb. His name is Joseph Tiffanthaler. He was a French. And he has given a reference that there is a partial mosque there and Hindus are also performing puja outside the structure and inside the Muslims are doing their rituals and others. So this gives an impression that maybe the present structure and also the various British archaeologists like Alexander Cunningham and others have also said that the structure which is appearing doesn't seem to be so much of old time, means doesn't seem to be 300 or 400 years old as it is claimed that it was a Babri Masjid. It seems to be that somewhere around Aurangzeb's time it was built. So I have given you two references of the foreign travelers, one reference of British archaeologists, and now come from where the documented records are available. The first, after the Britishers captured Awadh in 1857, after that, a clear-cut documentary records are available from the British revenue records. अच्छा, इसमें एक और मजेदार बात है. In the Awadh Gazetteer of the British time and in the Mughal time, the name of this masjid is Masjid-e-Janm-Sthan. So you can understand that it is called masjid, but whose Janm-Sthan it was there? Even that template of Mir Baki, which is being taken out in 1992, it is written there in Persian, Farishte ke utarne ki jagah, the place as which some angel has descended from sky. तो भाई इस्लामी मान्यता के अनुसार कौन सा फरिश्ता उतरा था और किसका जन्म स्थान था, ये बताना चाहिए. And the first reference of clear cut word Janm Sthan in the documentary evidence is November 1858, when the Thanedar of Faizabad has written a letter to the British resident of Awadh that some 50 Nihang Sikhs have come with swords in their hand. They have taken over the premises. They have performed Yajna Havan. And they have put Ram Ram on the entire walls of Masjid-e-Janm-Sthan. Now the Thanedar of Faizabad is saying that two things are notable. That the Sikhs have come, Nihang Sikhs have come with swords, and he is saying that I am not having that much of Sipahis with me, that they can fight with 50 people with swords. They have performed Yajna Havan. This is also a reference in particularly when this type of separatist sentiments are trying to be grown in the Sikhs. And then he says that they have written on the walls of Masjid-e-Janm-Sthan, Ram, Ram, Ram. Then a judgment came in 1886 at the time of Britishers. The British judge said the matter is too much old. It's 350 years old. So he doesn't want to give any proper final conclusion about what the structure was 350 years before. Yes, of course, at the time the technologies were not available, but he said that the things are in the position of Hindus, so they departed the site in two parts. Then in 1936, a massive struggle was taken, and after that, the namaz was denied, or it was only allowed for a few on the date of Friday. And Hindus were allowed to perform puja on all their festivals and others. Then comes 22nd and 23rd December 1949, जब उसमें श्री राम लला प्रकट हुए, and at the time puja started, and any sort of gathering for Muslims and namaz was prohibited by the government even during the British time. And one interesting fact in this context I would like to point out, when today the Congress people try to you can say claim that they have done something for Sri Ram temple, I would like to remind, at the time Govind Vallabh Pant was Chief Minister of United Provinces, today's Uttar Pradesh. He ordered District Magistrate of Faizabad to remove those idols. And Mr. Nayyar, who was District Magistrate, has denied the order of CM. You can think that how can DM deny the orders of CM? Because it is the event of 22nd and 23rd December 1949, till the time the constitutional has not come in vogue. So the powers of the British time were going on, in which the powers of district magistrate were defined and the powers of CM was not defined. Power of governor was defined and CM was not defined. Then you know what happened. Then Nehruji called Govind Vallabh Pant. Then Govind Vallabh Pant himself went to Faizabad to ensure that the idols should be removed. But Mr. Nayyar has forced then Chief Minister Mr. Pant to stay in the Circuit House of Faizabad. And I have heard from my buzurg logon ke muh se suna hai कि the heading on that day in the newspapers was Chief Minister under arrest. The chief minister was under arrest because DM said that if you enter into Faizabad, it will create a big problem for law and order. Then came 1986, when the lock was open. From there, I am having myself a very clear memory. We used to chant a slogan, "Loktantra ki dekho shaan, bandi bane hue bhagwan." When the lock was open, then on April 1987, a very huge rally took place at Ram Ki Padi near Ayodhya. And I was there in the rally as a balak. And I remember, उसी में वो गीत गवाया गया था कि सौगंध राम की खाते हैं, हम मंदिर वहीं बनाएंगे. और उसकी एक पंक्ति थी जो बहुत प्रेरक थी कि जन जन के मन में राम रमे और प्राण प्राण में सीता है, हर हृदय की धड़कन रामायण पग पग पर बनी पुनीता है, यदि राम नहीं है श्वासों में तो प्राणों का घट रीता है, इसलिए नरनाहर श्री पुरुषोत्तम का हम मंदिर भव्य बनाएंगे. Then came 1989, 9th November, Shilanyas. Then 30th of October 1990, जब मुलायम सिंह जी ने कहा कि परिंदा पर नहीं मार पाएगा, but car sevaks managed to go inside Garbhagriha and they have hoisted the flag on the top of the dome. Then on 2nd of November 1990, the firing was done. It is a false perception in the history of struggle of Sri Ram Janmabhoomi that the firing was done on the day of Kar Seva to stop people for doing any damage to mosque. Yes, of course, the firing was done on 30th of October also. But the huge firing was done on 2nd of November, 3 days after, when nothing was going on, only Bhajan Kirtan was going on, and the brutal killing of Kothari brothers was done in 2nd of November. And till at that time, I would also like to remind that how huge this event was. When on 30th of October 1990, the Kar Seva was there for 2 days, 29th and 30th of October 1990. All flights to Lucknow cancelled, all trains to Lucknow cancelled, all buses to Lucknow cancelled. No private vehicle can come in or go out. Only the government vehicles can go in and out. All STD calls blocked, other than the government phones. And I heard that the BBC, Hindi Seva at the time, has said that this has never happened even time of the Bharat Chodo movement. और उन्होंने एक और भी बढ़िया, उस समय मुझे याद है कि बीबीसी ने एक डाटा दिया था कि भारत छोड़ो मूवमेंट के टाइम पे the British government accepted that in the entire state of Uttar Pradesh, it was the people who got arrested was 20,000. And the Congress claimed 50,000 arrests. During this time, the UP government accepted that 2 to 2.5 lakh people were arrested. And Vishwa Hindu Parishad stated the figure from 5 to 6 lakh, means more than 10 times. Though the population had not even doubled between 1942 to 1990. So by that parameter, it was 5 times more bigger and massive movement than Bharat Chodo Andolan. Then came 1992, 6th December. Then, you know what happened? In 1976, when the archaeological survey was doing a routine excavation in Ayodhya, the several pillars came up. And K.K. Mohammed, who was the Joint Director of Archaeological Survey of India, was at the time heading that survey. When 8 pillars become visible, then he himself has written in his book that the communist historians have jumped into the fray and they forced the Indira Gandhi government to stop doing any excavation there. And not only this, they went to the court and got an order that there should not be any excavation there. After the demolition of the disputed structure in 1992, when Vajpayee government came, by that time the radar mapping technology has come. So court has given a stricture on excavation, but there was no ban or barrier on radar mapping. Like सर्जरी पे रोक थी ना, अल्ट्रासाउंड पे तो नहीं थी. So we have done the ultrasound of the land and the structure was visible, and then it was put in front of the court, and court has given an order for excavation. In 2003 the excavation was done and more than 70 pillars have come, and now it is conclusively proven that this was a temple. And based on that, on 30th of September 2010, Lucknow bench of Allahabad High Court has given a judgment that the sanctum sanctorum or central dome, Kendriya Gumbad, belongs to Sri Ram Lalla Virajman. That the famous 1/3, 2/3 judgment. And then it went to Supreme Court, and finally it got concluded 9th of November 2019. One interesting factor in few minutes I would like to give with the history of that, about which I have spoken in the parliament a very little, but I would like to slightly elaborate this. When people used to ask कि भाई ये तो कहते हैं रामलला हम आएंगे, मंदिर वहीं बनाएंगे, तारीख नहीं बताएंगे, they were mistaken. Sri Ram Lalla Virajman was not a person, and the temple was not just a building, and the tarikh was not just a date. It was a transition of a huge Kal Chakra ki gati of India. That's why whenever the Indian history has got turned, a major turn in their history of the freedom struggle, at that particular time, you will witness a huge change in the Ram Temple movement, a turning point in the Ram Temple movement, a turning point in the Indian history. 1857 is considered the first war of independence. I have told you the first official FIR is November 1858, similar time. Then in the independence struggle, the biggest achievement of the struggle was in 1937, when provincial assembly elections took place and Britishers agreed that in the provinces, Indian government can be there, means Congress formed the government, and British will remain at center. 1936, I told you, there was a huge clash, and after that, Muslims were denied by the British government to do regular namaz there. Then India got independence. On 26th of November 1949, Constitution got completed, and 22nd and 23rd December 1949 night, Ram Lalla appeared. Similar time. Then 1986, Tala Khula. If you remember, in 1986, Rajiv Gandhi पहली बार न्यू इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसी में ओपननेस का कॉन्सेप्ट लेके आए थे, and those who are interested in economics must be remembering that this Uruguay round of talks in GATT, which subsequently led to formation of WTO, started in 1986. अब आइए, the Ram Temple movement has reached to its peak from 1989, 90 and 92, 93. This is the same time in which the Indian economy got reopened. जब वहां disputed structure था, the foreign exchange reserve was less than 1 billion. The inflation rate was huge. The growth rate was at the bare minimum. Rupee got devalued in 1991 twice. We were in a very bad shape. And in 1991, the Nehruvian structure of economy got demolished, and 1992, the disputed structure got demolished. Sir, try to have a connection of history. At the same time, Berlin Wall got demolished. At the same time, the Iron Curtain of communists got demolished. This is a similar time, 90 to 92. Then came the Vajpayee government, and the pillars which has came in 2003 in the excavation, which has given a concrete evidence of being temple there. 2003-4 is the first financial year in which we got current account surplus, and third quarter of 2003-4 we attained, for a 1 quarter we have attained the rate of 10.5% growth. At the time it was more than China. And 30th of September 2010, incidentally, I would like to tell Mansalji an interesting fact. My first appearance on television as a representative of BJP was not in India. It was in US. Not on any political issue. It was on a Ram Temple issue. Because on 30th of September 2010, I was traveling to US. When I landed in New Jersey, by that time the judgment had come. So जो हमको लेने के लिए आए थे शुक्ला जी, he said, though you are coming from such a long flight, but HR Shah ji is saying that if you don't mind, since at the time I was a member of the National Executive of BJP, if you can go to the studio and give a brief interview on this Ram Temple case. So from airport, I straight away went to TV Asia and given an interview there. And if you remember, Barack Obama, very next month, October 2010, addressed the joint session of Indian Parliament and said, India is not emerging, India has emerged. And sir, in 2019, when the 9th November 2019, the judgment came, till that time, Modi ji was in power for the second time with full majority, clear majority. So the history was created and Yogi ji was there in power with more than 300 seats in Uttar Pradesh. More than 300 seats at center under the leadership of Modi ji. In our childhood, it was unimaginable that BJP at one point of time will be able to get more than 300 seats. और अब आप देखिए, जब 22 जनवरी की तारीख आ रही है, उससे पहले we have become the 5th largest economy. We have become the 4th biggest stock exchange. We have become the 3rd biggest manufacturer of the automobile, 2nd biggest manufacturer of the mobile phones, number 1 country in the investment in the infrastructure. This time our investment in the infrastructure is more than America. And just 2 days before, India's foreign exchange reserve has touched 600 billion. And not only Bhagwan Ram is getting a new house in form of a grand temple, 4 crore poor people has got house in Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Indian Parliament has got a new parliament. और अभी तो 2 महीने 1 महीना बाकी है, देखिए अभी क्या क्या होता है. तो मैं सिर्फ ये कहना चाहूंगा कि नाउ यू शुड ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि भगवान राम का मंदिर एक काल चक्र की गति थी. एंड वन इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट अगेन आई वुड लाइक टू रीएम्फसाइज, इट इज हैविंग अ डिवाइन कनेक्शन आल्सो. On 9th of November 1989, when first Shilanyas was done, it was Devothani Ekadashi, the day on which it is believed that the Devatas wake up. On 30th of October 1990, the famous and brutal killings of Kar Sevaks in the Kar Seva, it was again a Devothani Ekadashi. And 9th November 2019, when the final judgment came on 8th and 9th November 2019, it was Devothani Ekadashi. अगर आप मानना चाहते हैं तो इट इज अ डिवाइन इंडिकेशन, और नहीं मानना चाहते हैं तो इट इज अ मियर कोइंसिडेंस. आई लीव इट अप टू यू. और अब जब 22 जनवरी है तो देखिए उस दिन सर्वार्थ सिद्धि योग भी है और अमृत सिद्धि योग भी है. सूर्य उत्तरायण में होंगे. जो लोग थोड़ा बहुत ज्योतिष समझते होंगे, they can understand that the 22nd January is not chosen just because of any other consideration. There is a very unique, peculiar astrological calculations. तो मैंने वहां से बात शुरू की थी कि भगवान राम की कुंडली अवेलेबल है, एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल कैलकुलेशन, एंड हियर इज आल्सो एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल कैलकुलेशन. तो आई जस्ट वांट टू से भगवान राम का मंदिर की पताका और भारत की महानता की पताका एक साथ आनी थी. राम टेम्पल में राम वेट कर रहे थे कि जब भारत उठेगा तब मेरा मंदिर उठेगा. और लास्ट में एक पॉइंट और भी कहना चाहूंगा, भगवान राम का राज्याभिषेक सीधे नहीं हुआ. निषाद राज का राज्याभिषेक, सुग्रीव का राज्याभिषेक, शबरी का सम्मान और वानर रीछ भालू सबको स्थान. आप देखिए समाज के लोएस्ट सेक्शन, फारदेस्ट सेक्शन, everybody should get respect and place in the governance. Then Bhagwan Ram got Ram Raj. और आप देखिए अभी हमारे राष्ट्रपति जो जिस समय जजमेंट आया तो कौन थे? श्री रामनाथ कोविंद, जो एससी कम्युनिटी से आते हैं. अब जब मंदिर का निर्माण हो रहा है तो हमारी राष्ट्रपति कौन है? श्रीमती द्रौपदी मुर्मू जी, who is the first woman and first person from ST community who is president. और हमारे प्रधानमंत्री कौन है? मोदी जी, हु इज फ्रॉम ओबीसी कम्युनिटी. साहब जो राम के काल में हुआ वही राम मंदिर के काल में हो रहा है. इसको समझने के लिए दृष्टि चाहिए थी. तभी भगवान राम से का जब परिचय पूछा गया है तो हनुमान जी क्या कहते हैं? तात राम नहीं नर भूपाला, भुवनेश्वर कालो कर काला, ही इज नॉट जस्ट ए मैन, ही इज अ गॉड हिमसेल्फ। और एक और पॉइंट आप समझ लीजिए, हमारे यहाँ जो भगवान हैं, दे आर नॉट द सन ऑफ द गॉड, दे आर नॉट द मैसेंजर ऑफ द गॉड, दे आर गॉड हिमसेल्फ। वो कहते हैं कि भाई ब्रह्म अनामय अज भगवंता, व्यापक अजित अनादि अनंता। भगवान राम क्या है? अनादि है, अनंत है, अजित है, जो कभी उत्पन्न नहीं हुए। तो देयर इज अ ह्यूज डिफरेंस इन द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ वेस्ट एंड कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ अवर्स। तो फाइनली आई वुड लाइक टू से that this Ram temple, which is going to be built, is also very useful from the international perspective. You will say, how come? Today, if you look at the international conflicts of the entire world, it is dominated by three motivations. Either a country wants to annex any other country, like several countries have annexed, like Iraq tried to annex Kuwait, unsuccessful, but China finally annexed Tibet. The annexation, if not annexation, then subjugation. You appoint a puppet government there. And if not possible subjugation, then at least domination. Sign a treaty and rule from remote. But if you look, when Bhagwan Ram captured Lanka, he had neither annexed the kingdom nor appointed any of his deputy there. So neither subjugation and nor domination. So in this entire era of conflict, when it is said that this is the era of clash of civilization, only Ram temple can give you a message that how you can create a coherence in the clash of civilization at the top diplomatic level also. So finally, I would like to end by saying the Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has said, यही समय है, सही समय है, और ये समय भगवान राम ने ही शायद चुना है। और जो लोग आज यहाँ उस काम के लिए हैं, उनको भी उन्होंने ही चुना हुआ होगा। दैट्स व्हाट आई कैन से, कि अब जो फ्यूचर में भारत को जो महान बनाना था, भारत को नंबर 1 की इकोनॉमी बनाना था, भगवान राम का मंदिर उसके साथ ही उठना था। तो वी शुड बी वेरी क्लियर अबाउट दैट। एंड वन थिंग वी मस्ट बी वेरी क्लियर, दैट आई हैव टोल्ड यू द सब्जुगेशन, एनेक्सेशन एंड अदर्स। सो भगवान राम का जो चरित्र है और हिंदू धर्म के जो सिद्धांत हैं, वही पूरे विश्व को एक नई नॉलेज दे सकते हैं। अटल जी की जो प्रसिद्ध कविता थी, हिंदू तन मन हिंदू जीवन, रग रग हिंदू मेरा परिचय, उसका जो लास्ट स्टेंजा है, दैट इज द क्रक्स ऑफ द इथोस ऑफ हिंदू सोसाइटी एंड विच इज अ सिंबल फॉर एंटायर वर्ल्ड, और यू कैन से टीचिंग फॉर एंटायर वर्ल्ड। वो ये कहते हैं, होकर स्वतंत्र मैंने कब चाहा, मैं कर लूं जग को गुलाम, मैंने तो सदा सिखाया है करना अपने मन को गुलाम। गोपाल राम के नामों पर कब मैंने अत्याचार किया, कब दुनिया को हिंदू करने घर घर में नरसंहार किया, कोई बतलाए काबुल में जाकर कितनी मस्जिद तोड़ी, भूभाग नहीं शत शत मानव के हृदय जीतने का निश्चय, हिंदू तन मन हिंदू जीवन, रग रग हिंदू मेरा परिचय। So you be rest assured that India's rise is imminent, and we are all set to rise, not to dominate the world, but to motivate the world, not to become the superpower, but to become a Vishwa Guru. As the impact, a soothing impact of Bhagwan Ram is there all over the world, I have told you, so will be a soothing impact of India's rise in the entire world. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.
Tanshu ji, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Thank you very much for taking time out of your very busy schedule. I know you were traveling and you made a special effort from the hotel to be part of this conversation. Thank you so much. And amazing, recitation of facts going all the way from ancient times to modern times, and the struggle that Hindu society at large has endured to come to the point where we are today. Thank you once again. There has been a tremendous interest in this entire series. This is a 5-part webinar series, as you know, and people have joined from various continents. I think I saw one comment, someone saying joining from Australia. this has got to be a very late, probably 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. I don't have the conversion table in front of me, but it's so obviously there is tremendous interest in not only this conversation, today's conversation, but the entire subject of Sri Ram Mandir and its inauguration and where it leads the Hindu ecosystem going forward. There are I see there have been a number of questions posted in the QA box, and my colleague Amitabh ji has been addressing many of them, I believe, already. Amitabh ji, are there any burning questions that you want to?
नमस्कार सुधांशु जी, धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत आभार. साउथ अमेरिका से भी लोगों ने ज्वाइन किया है, ब्राजीलियन, Guyana. So this is tremendous response. Thank you so much, and everyone is just in awe of your oratory skills and facts and figures that you present. Like, you know, they're just amazed. So thank you so much. I have some loaded questions and some simple questions. So I'm going to start with the loaded question right away. So, waiting for 500 years for justice. Is this our strength or our weakness?
Actually, it is our strength that all other cultures vanished within 50 years. But we survived the onslaught of 1,000 years of dominance and 2,000 years of struggle. And in this case, 500 years. This is our strength, that nobody was able to capture us. But the weakness was the last 70 years. Otherwise, it could have been settled down. On the lighter note, I would like to remind, when we were in younger age, going to school and college, when Ram Temple started, ek Sangh ke pracharak aaye the. And the question was asked, when Somnath was settled immediately after independence, why not Ram Temple was settled at the time? So that's why I'm saying on a lighter note, he answered, वो शायद इसलिए कि सोमनाथ सरदार पटेल के प्रोविंस में पड़ गया था तो तुरंत सॉल्व हो गया, ये नेहरू जी के प्रोविंस में पड़ गया तो अटका ही पड़ा रह गया. So where was the strength and where was weakness? I leave up to the wisdom of the viewers.
The second loaded question is, how did the Waqf Act hindered court proceedings in the Ram Janambhoomi case?
Actually, the court proceeding started before the Waqf Act came, but they tried to put in several things, but they were unable to dominate the decision of the court. If it would have been in force before the proceedings of the court have started, then definitely they could have created a lot of problem. And Waqf Board is having a very unique, peculiar provisions that the claimant can be the judicial authority. I am claiming the land is mine and I am the judicial authority. And this type of peculiar judgments has been given. And if somebody asks that, is the government planning to do anything? Right now, it is being challenged in the court. Until the proceeding of court is coming on, then anything can be thought after that.
Then the continuation on that is, Jai Shri Krishna. And when will we see the Krishna Janambhoomi and Gyanvapi be liberated also?
एक हिंदी का दोहा है, धीरे धीरे रे मना, धीरे सब कुछ होए, माली सींचे 100 घड़ा, ऋतु आए फल होए. अब धीरे धीरे ऋतु आ रही है. आप देखिए, राम मंदिर का काम पूरा हो गया, भगवान की कृपा से काशी विश्वनाथ में कॉरिडोर बन गया. अब आगे, but one thing I would like to remind, that it all will depend upon the strength of the society. I would like to remind, in 1993, after the demolition, when the 4 governments were dismissed, we were unable to get a clear majority in the state of Uttar Pradesh. That was very discouraging. When SP, BSP and Congress I formed the government, at the time, हमारी एक साध्वी थी जिन्होंने एक स्टेटमेंट दिया था. एक जमाने में वो यूपी में एक नारा लगा था, मिले मुलायम काशी राम, हवा में उड़ गए जय श्री राम. तो उन्होंने कहा था, ये नारा इसलिए लग रहा है कि हमारी स्ट्रेंथ में और यूनिटी में थोड़ी कमी रह गई है. द डे on which you will show the full strength and full unity, उस दिन जो है नारा है, मिले मुलायम काशी राम, हवा में उड़ गया जय श्री राम, नारा ये हो जाएगा, क्या मुलायम का काशी राम, सारे बोलेंगे जय श्री राम। तो वो आप देख रहे हैं, कभी ऐसा भी समय आएगा जब सब जय श्री कृष्ण भी बोलेंगे।
Yesterday we had KK Mohammed ji as our panelist and speaker. So related to him, people have asked who were there yesterday. With there is possibility of Indian Parliament to enact a law to enable ASI to carry out excavation and research at all mandir and cultural structures of Hindus who were destroyed by the invaders.
I think for this purpose, there is no need of any law, because the Archaeological Survey of India from its act is also empowered to do the things. Sometime the problem comes, one is a practicality, that any site nearby, there is a, you can say, a township or public is living, their houses are there, they are not ready to get their locality disturbed. Second thing, sometime excavation is such a massive exercise and costly exercise. Just on the basis of some assessment, it's not easy. You have to have a concrete assessment. But the technology is coming and it is improving gradually. Like जब पहले मैंने बताया कि रडार मैपिंग आ गई तो अब आसान हो गया। पहले क्या होता था, कार्बन डेटिंग नहीं थी, तो आपको नीचे जाकर ही खुदाई करके ये कंफर्म करना पड़ता था कि कितना ओल्ड स्ट्रक्चर है। मे बी हो सकता है अभी रडार मैपिंग आई है, जिस पर भी ये लोग काशी विश्वनाथ में जाके वो लिए है ना कोर्ट से स्टे, रडार मैपिंग शुड नॉट बी देयर, चिंता मत करिए, सैटेलाइट से हो सकता है रडार मैपिंग होने लगे। टेक्नोलॉजी विल एडवांस and then the work of archaeological survey will get easier. So I don't think that there is a need of enacting any further act from Parliament.
The next question is about the Nihang Sikh participation that started this moment from one angle. Why do you think the Sikh community is not as active in it today? I don't see that, but your point of view from Bharat.
What happened when Britishers in the initial time of the 19th century, they decided that they have to rule this country forever. So they meticulously and mischievously focused on two regions of the country. One, Punjab in north, where they tried to build up those things that can in future become the tool to alienate Sikhs from Hindu community, and then Tamil Nadu in south. So you have seen that these two areas from the British time were seeded with the idea that you are different from the Hindu society. Today you see in DMK's ideology, when they go to the extent of saying that Sanatan Dharma, eradication of Sanatan Dharma, it is dengue, malaria, HIV, and so the things have gone to that extent in Punjab among the Sikhs. But again, the irony was, even after independence, rather than undoing those things, we have further aggravated that problem. Just for the far-sightedness of the then people in the government. And you can say, just for the sense of complacency, theek hai, abhi sarkar chal rahi hai, what will happen after 50 years, who bothers? So this was the reason. So the Tamils in south and Sikhs in north were the targeted with a mischievous agenda of the Britishers, and Marxists after 1947 have further aggravated it, and Congress virtually outsourced the entire intellectual establishment to them. And that has taken situation from bad to worse.
So our part is that how do we reverse it?
First thing I would like to say that we should try to motivate all our younger generation to read their religious textbook. आप सिखों से कहिए कि वो पढ़ें गुरु ग्रंथ साहब को, तो मुझे लगता है ये इनको कोई भड़का नहीं पाएगा। गुरु ग्रंथ साहब में 1300 टाइम्स भगवान राम वर्ड है, 2300 टाइम्स हरि वर्ड है। इवन इन द लास्ट अंग ऑफ श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब, द लास्ट दोहा जानते क्या है? राम नाम सिमरन करो जाके सम नहीं कोय, सिमरत ही संकट मिटे दरस दिखावे सो। This is the last line in the last ang of Shri Guru Granth Sahib. और गुरु गोविंद सिंह जी ने रामावतार भी लिखा है और चंडी दीवार भी लिखा। तो प्रॉब्लम क्या हो गई है कि पढ़ना छोड़ दिया है और कैरिड अवे हो गए प्रोपेगेंडा से। अगर आपको बताएं अंग 1082 में तो ऐसी मतलब वर्डिंग है, ऋषिकेश गोवर्धन दारी माधव मदन मुरारी, मतलब यू कैन नॉट हैव एनी स्कोप ऑफ सेइंग इफ एंड व्हाट अबाउट इट। एंड ऑल्सो आई वुड लाइक टू रिमाइंड, जो पंच प्यारे थे, वो पंच प्यारे किन 5 जगहों से लिए गए? एक तो गुजरात से था, एक लाहौर से था, एक मेरठ से था, एक जगन्नाथपुरी था, एक बीदर कर्नाटक से था। So Guru Gobind Singh was having a national integration, then how come their followers can say they are for national disintegration? And also I would like to say, भैया ये कैसा डिमांड कर रहे हो जिसमें ना ननकाना साहब है ना करतारपुर साहब है? So this shows that this is just a camouflage of anti-India activity and nothing more than that.
Now, historical question, last question, I think, because this is multiple people have asked this. So, why the West easily accepts Egyptian and Greece mythology as history, but insists on calling the Hindu history as mythology?
There are 2 reasons. One, they themselves have evolved from Greek and Egyptian culture. So they consider themselves as part of that. And ours, they consider different. Second, there was a bias in their mind that they are superior. But more significant is third, which most of the people do not know. Actually, the theologians of the West and those people who are having even a slightest spiritual insight in the West, they are having no confusion about India. Only Hindus are having confusion about India. They are very much clear that if India is given any chance, इसके अंदर तो वो inherent strength है कि it will be impossible to stop that. मैं एक एग्जांपल के साथ बोलना चाहता हूं. You have heard the word Ghazwa-e Hind. But why you have not heard the word Ghazwa-e China? It is bigger country than us. Why not Ghazwa-e Europe? Why not Ghazwa-e Russia? Why not Ghazwa-e America? Because Sri Aurobindo has said कि जो स्थान हमारे शरीर में आत्मा का है वो स्थान इस दुनिया में भारत का है. Their theologians know that this is a real power, real spiritual power, real conscious power of the world lies in India. इसलिए वो इसको सब ढंग से किसी भी तरीके से सप्रेस, इग्नोर करने की कोशिश करते हैं. बट कोई बात नहीं, मुद्दई लाख बुरा चाहे तो क्या होता है, वही होता है जो मंजूर खुदा होता है. या यूं कहें, हुई है वही जो राम रचि राखा, को करी तर्क बढ़ावे शाखा. जो प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा, अब आ गया है समय, अब कोई रोक नहीं सकता.
अंतिम रिक्वेस्ट है आपसे कि 200 से 25 से अधिक लोग हैं जिन्होंने आपको जय श्री राम कहा है, इंडिविजुअली कहना चाहते हैं, और आप एक उनको अपनी तरफ से जय श्री राम कह दीजिए, सबको खुश हो जाए.
मैं जब राम मंदिर आंदोलन चल रहा था तो उस समय गीत गवाया जाता था जिसमें जय श्री राम आता था. मैं उसी गीत के 2 पंक्तियां बोलकर सबको जय श्री राम कहता हूं. वो ये था कि ये मन प्रभु राम का, तन प्रभु राम का, तो प्रेम से बोलिए जय श्री राम. आस प्रभु राम की, श्वास प्रभु राम की, तो प्रेम से बोलिए जय श्री राम की. और लोक परलोक यही मोक्ष धाम है, तो हर क्षण बोलिए जय श्री राम की. और आगे की लाइन हम लोग जानते क्या थी? शासन चलाए चाहे सीने पर गोलियां, परवाह नहीं कीजिए शरीर और प्राण की, आए आपदाएं विपदाएं भले कितनी, बनाएंगे हम मंदिर सौगंध श्री राम. जय श्री राम.
बहुत 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 खूब सुधांशु, बहुत खूब. So I think this question has been asked directly earlier, but let me ask a little broader question. I think it's all about okay, Ram Mandir is now a reality. It's here. We are, we're ready to inaugurate it in a few weeks. But then there are so many other mandirs that obviously, need to be resurrected. And then there is a bigger issue of retrieving and promulgating the Hindu civilizational narrative. I'm wondering if there are structural problems in being able to do that? I'm specifically talking about the Constitution. Are there specific impediments that are built into the Constitution that actually tend to punish the Hindu civilization, Hindu culture? And is there a vision to figure out how to get rid of them?
Just one procedure or one target. If you will be able to show the unity and strength, the path will automatically clear. I will give you one example. Just a couple of days back, 6th December has passed. This was the first 6th December in the history when Parliament was in session. There was no ruckus in Parliament. Forget about ruckus. Nobody raised the issue in Parliament. No demonstration anywhere in India. Not even any person commented, or any significant person commented on social media. That is why. The event is same, but in last 10, 20 years, situation has got changed. So one thing in this context I would like to add, if you look at the entire eastern part of the globe, there are only 2-3 major countries which are absolute and consistent, strong democracy. India, Japan and Australia. All other are either minor countries like Singapore, or unstable democracies like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Thailand, or most of them are dictatorial regimes or the kingship. And if you see, the Japan is a constitutional monarchy and Australia is practically an extension of Europe. So only country, the major country which is absolute and sustained democracy in the east part of the world is India. Why? Because of its Hindu ethos, which is having a democratic value. But too much democratic values के बारे में अगर आप अपने उस democratic value में आप अपने interest को ही भूल जाएंगे, तो एक लाइन इस पे बता देता हूँ. एक लोकोक्त रामायण होती थी ना, इसे लोकल लैंग्वेज में बहुत से लोग ट्रांसलेट करते थे. तो उसमें वो कहते हैं, विपरीत समय का मीठापन अक्सर अनर्थ करवाता है. मीठी चीज अच्छी मानी जाती है ना, पर वो कहते हैं विपरीत समय का मीठापन अक्सर अनर्थ करवाता है. मीठी बोली के ही कारण तोता पिंजरे में आता है, और ज्यादा मीठे गन्ने को ही देखो कोल्हू में पेरा जाता है. तो बस मेरा ये मानना, उतना मीठे मत बनिए और अपना काम करते रहिए.
That's wonderful. I think those are very wise words to conclude today's session. Once again, बहुत धन्यवाद. Thank you so much. Keep on doing, Sudhanshuji, what you're doing, and we love you. It's just wonderful to have you here. And before we close for the day, I just want to remind as to why we are holding this webinar series. This 5-part webinar series is being held precisely to raise the awareness, raise the consciousness about this pivotal event that is happening in the life of Hindu society. January 22nd, inauguration is taking place. Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America has very specific plans on how everyone can be part of this major event. Amitabh Mittalji has posted the details of how you can be part of it. Amitabhji, if you wouldn't mind posting it one more time in the chat room. We have built a website where you can go and it tells you exactly how you can participate on the night of for North America. On the night of the 21st of January, you can go to your favorite Mandir and be part of this entire pivotal event that is taking place in Bharat on 22nd. So looks like Amitabh, you have posted it.
Yes. I posted. It's a simple 6-line instructions. They're very simple instructions. They came directly from Bharat. Yeah. These are instructions prepared after the guidance from over 2,700 Sant Samaj coming from Sri Ram Janambhoomi Tirthasthal. So please follow these instructions. Visit the website rammandir2024.org and how you can participate in this Anushthan. Please, Jai Shri Ram.
Okay, on that note, I'd like to, of course, thank our eminent speaker, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi ji, for being here and sharing his wisdom with our audience. And of course, thank all the people in the audience who joined from various places on the globe. Thank you. And, our next webinar in this series is on January 6, 2026. That would be Shri Vishnu Shankar Jainji talking about the actual legal case regarding the Ram Janambhoomi. So stay tuned for that. And with that, we'll end the webinar here. Thank you. Namaskar. Jai Shri.
Jai Shri Ram.